Welcome to a nutty adventure exploring personal growth and wellness, breaking down the stigma around mental health along the way. Let's dive in because now it's time to show me your nuts.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Tuesday. So you know what time it is. It's time to show me your nuts. And this today is going to kick off one of my favorite topic months in the world. I can geek out on this topic for hours and hours. And I have friends that also like to geek out on it, and it is so fun. Today kicks off Quantum Month. We're going to discover that the smallest shifts create the biggest transformations. And we're going to defy logic today with what's called timeline therapy. So we're going to introduce you to what is called timeline therapy. So what would happen if you could release years of anxiety in moments? If a tiny timeline adjustment could change everything for you. That, my friends, is quantum healing. And once you have experienced it, it's like they say when once you see that, you can't unsee it. Once you experience this, you cannot unsee it, and you want to do everything with it. And the cool thing is you can probably do everything with it. It's like one of the secrets to the universe. So in the chat right now, I want to hear where you are. So we're going to do our energy check-in on a scale of stuck in the past to remembering my future. Where are you today? Stuck in my past to remembering my future. Tell me where you're at. And personally, I'm going to go in here and put mine in too. I am remembering my future memories, folks. And I think you've kind of heard me talk about that a little bit before. So keep going, telling me where are you at, stuck in your past or remembering my future. And so I'm going to give a little bit of more background here of the quantum principle as I see it. So in quantum physics, tiny changes at the particle level create massive effects physically. So like a tiny change of two atoms coming together, and that's not the tiniest there is, by the way, but two atoms coming together can literally create a nuclear explosion, right? So think about that kind of thing happening, but two tiny things in your mind create an explosion of something very different in your life. So some examples of small shifts are one tiny belief change transforming your entire life's patterns. So, for example, if you believe that hard work is what gets you to what you need, but you also believe that the only way to do hard work is 100 hours a week, and you shift that belief to where hard work can mean focusing for 20 minutes and then taking a break. And that what that does is shift your mind where you can actually have your body and your mind take a break and you actually get more done. And your body and your mind are more healthy. Just a tiny example. Also, an example of 5 minutes of timeline work can equal years of traditional therapy. Now, I'm saying that as not only someone who has been in years of therapy, but someone who has provided 25 plus years of therapy. And now I know that I can take somebody through 5 minutes of timeline work and it will be equal to what I used to give people in years. I see clients move farther, faster, and epic differences in their lives in literally from week to week. And that I didn't see that before. It didn't happen. I personally put my own generalized anxiety disorder into what I call remission using the very technique that we're going to demonstrate today. And I say we because I have a special guest sitting in the green room waiting, and I will be introducing her in just a minute. Releasing the one root cause can heal multiple symptoms in your life. And by symptoms, I mean biological, psychological, social, and spiritual. How we've talked about those 4 pillars last week. One small shift and releasing that one root cause can shift all 4 of those pillars. So this month we're going to deep into the quantums, and we're going to explore quantum leaps. We're going to explore synchronicity. We're going to explore mind-bending transformations. We're going to talk about shoulds and shouldn'ts and things and how different things, even the way you word things, impact what you're doing. So get ready, because this whole month is going to be a ride. Today, we are going to have my dear friend, Brenda Lisa Costa. She and I spent 2 weeks together in Phoenix. That's when we met each other. We actually met over an iPad. Maybe we'll tell that story. But we met at our training for master practitioners of mental emotional release, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, mental emotional release, and hypnosis. We were there to fill our brains full of the most amazing things that I can say I ever have learned. Even and I got all sorts of letters behind my name. These are my favorite letters. These are the ones that really light me up every day, and they're the ones that are, I think, the most powerful I've ever learned. And then we've also spent other time together doing lots and lots of things since then. I can't believe it's been over 2 years since we did that training. Sometimes it feels like 6, sometimes it feels like 1, sometimes it feels like we need to go back and get it again. But give me a second to bring her on stage and welcome her to so she can show me her nuts. Welcome to Show Me Your Nuts, sister. How are you today?
I'm doing great, and at the same time, I'm like peeing my pants. Not because I have to go to the bathroom, but because this is funny.
I want this show to be the funniest nutty show ever, because one of the things we do here is breaking the stigma about the word nuts. And so we use the word nuts and all the different things in ways that people might go, that's a little edgy. And yeah, it's edgy on purpose, because words have meanings, but words also have multiple meanings for multiple people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think all of them are important.
And I think
all of the meanings.
And I think it's also about the meaning that you put. At the end of the day, someone may say a word nuts and feel overwhelmed with it. But if you see it from a different perspective, it might be something joyful. So yeah, I'm stepping into the joy.
Yes, you could. That's a great example of what we're talking about today. Like the idea of seeing the word nuts and thinking, oh, someone's calling me that, and they're calling me out, and they're making me feel bad because the word nuts means something's wrong with you. When just moving around the word, so like if you're standing here with the word behind it and you move over here to the side and see it of show me your nuts, and you think about it in funnier ways, and you start laughing, you lose that feeling of something's wrong with you.
Oh, I'm all about nuts. I'm nuts about everything. So
Yeah. Well,
I'm
but
in the right
it
place.
also shows says that the emotion in your body connected to the word can change the way the word means what it means and what it
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
think we're gonna delve into some of that here in a bit. So it's time to uncover those hidden nuts. The root causes buried deep in your unconscious timeline. And so the thing that Brenda Lise and I both learned is called timeline therapy or mental emotional release. And
Mhm.
the short version of the history there is timeline therapy was created by Dr. Tad James, and then it was refined by our teacher, Dr. Matthew James.
Yep.
Dr. Matt, or Kumu as we call him, he refined this process, and then that's what we were taught. And what we were taught is that our unconscious stories or memory, or your unconscious mind stores memories in a timeline, and that negative emotions and limiting beliefs can get stuck at certain root events.
Mhm.
And the process we learned is a way that we can help people release them quickly and, more importantly, permanently. It makes
Yep.
a permanent change. It's not like, "Oh, you're gonna feel better when you leave a session with us because you're just feeling better, and then a week from now, you're gonna feel like crap again."
Yeah, and it's combining that together with action where then the results become explosive.
Yeah, because action is definitely, "Hey, Brenda Lise, did you know that there's 4 things you need to do to change?"
Do I? Should I? Of course I do.
Um, those of you, hashtag if you know, you know, it takes 4 things to change.
Mhm.
And I actually put a prerequisite in front of the requisites. So it takes 4 things to change, but, the thing you have to do before that is take responsibility for your own shit.
Absolutely.
So you have to recognize and realize that you have something that you're wanting to change. Then you go through the 4 things.
Mhm.
You have to get rid of the stuff. Then you have to create your compelling future. Then, like Brenda Lee said, you take action and then maintain focus. And all 4 of them are vital. You can't change without all 4, which, spoiler alert, is why New Year's resolutions and affirmations don't work. New Year's
Quantum
res
commands do though.
New Year's resolutions and affirmations don't work because you're trying to put your compelling future out there without having taken responsibility or gotten rid of your shit. Yeah, I know. I don't like the "don't" word either, but when something isn't functional, it's not functional unless you get rid of your stuff first. If you get rid of the stuff, then visualizations, affirmations, and commands are magical.
The way I like to say this, Stacey, is that your it works based on where you are. So
Mhm.
it depends on where you are in your life and where you are from your belief system. It's what you allow that affirmation to be. If you
Absolutely.
are resisting it, if your mind is saying this is BS because this is not true and I don't believe in that, then you're going to shut it down. But
Well,
if you're open to the possibilities, then you're going to embrace it.
you are, as long as you don't have baggage and limiting beliefs behind that are still there. You've gotta
Absolutely.
It's kinda like you can't have a clean kitchen if you still have dirty dishes in the sink. There's still dirty dishes in the sink. You have to clean the dirty dishes before, for you to then be able to say, "I have a clean kitchen."
I like to say that we are as good and as great as our baggage. So if we
That's a beautiful way to say it. I love that.
we are as good, and I'll repeat it again, or
Uh-huh.
as great as our baggage. So if our baggage is the one driving the show, then yeah, we will not be, affirmations won't work. But if you are becoming aware of your baggage and you're working through it, then the way you say things then can help you basically deliver the same message as affirmations would, but it's how we say things.
Right. And so in looking at, I have a physical way I also teach that myself, is if you've got baggage here, then and you are pushing up against the baggage, if you push this hand up against this, it's going to be, there's going to be resistance one way or the other, right?
Mhm.
You are in resistance, period, right? And then, but then if this isn't baggage anymore and it's just this piece,
Learning.
then you've got flow,
Absolutely.
right? And then when you're in flow, you can do anything.
Mhm.
So how the process that we learned works is, we know that our unconscious mind really wants to help us. Our body wants to be healthy on its own. Our unconscious mind wants things to flow like that, right? And it reveals the root causes, the stuck points, if you ask it properly, right? It reveals those stuck points. And then the release of those stuck points helps you flow, and that happens at the unconscious level. And it's faster than our conscious mind is processing it, right?
Stacey, the best conversations I have are not even with my intuition, my intuitive part, are with my unconscious mind.
Tell me more about that.
So I feel, of course, I mean, we have our connection to our soul and all of that, and our unconscious is that bridge between our consciousness and our soul. However, that's the way I see it. Doesn't mean that everybody needs to see it the same way I do, and I
Soul or
respect.
higher purpose, higher self,
Absolutely, absolutely,
universe consciousness, or universal
absolutely.
conscious. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, and this is what I love teaching my clients, it's all about just tuning in, because when you tune in into your intuition, you're getting, oh, I should go this path or I should go this other path. And
Mhm.
that's more directional. However, when you have deep conversations with your unconscious mind, you can make the goals that you couldn't achieve, you can make them achievable, because you're basically supporting the unconscious, working with the unconscious mind, so the unconscious mind actually supports where you are. So
Right.
it's just having curiosity questions with your unconscious mind. Okay, what is this trying to teach me?
Mhm.
If it's something as simple as asking the question, okay, until now this has been my pattern, right?
Mhm.
However, is there an easier way for me to achieve the same outcome without having an impact in my physical body? It's the having those conversations with my unconscious mind, it just drives results so much easier. And then
Right.
I'm not hit with resistance, but I'm hit with conversation and using
And possibility.
curiosity to make sure I understand where my unconscious mind's coming from, then
Mhm.
help my conscious mind be at peace. Because then it's like both of them start to connect at a different level. And it's just through questions and curiosity.
Mhm. I've got 4 questions that are fun when
Tell me.
you're curious. So 4 questions you can ask yourself when you are faced with, like, give me an example of something maybe that you're deciding to do or not do.
Okay, I'll tell you something. Oh, it took me 2.5 years or 3 years to do my first webinar,
Okay.
official webinar, right?
Right.
So that was something that I resisted it. I didn't want to be doing what everybody else is doing, right?
So let's stop on that one
Uh-huh.
because I bet there's people in the audience who have a similar something, right?
Okay.
And I'm going to ask them I'm going to ask them 4 questions. I'm going to ask them really fast questions, okay?
I
So
love
you
this.
guys in the audience, I want you to listen. Just kind of like close your eyes and listen to the questions. Don't try to answer the questions, just listen.
Mhm.
If you're stuck somewhere like doing a webinar, okay? What would happen if you do? What would happen if you didn't? What wouldn't happen if you did? What wouldn't happen if you didn't? Those 4 questions are called Cartesian logic. And those 4 questions open up all of the possible possibilities in what would happen if you did it? What wouldn't happen if you did it? What would happen if you didn't do it? What would happen if you didn't? What wouldn't happen if you didn't do it? Now, learning how to say those questions in rapid succession is quite the fun trick, right, Rendelise?
Yeah, and I'm curious, Stacy, how many people in the audience try to respond the questions while you were asking them? Because this
Exactly.
is not meant for your consciousness, for your conscious mind. This is meant for your unconscious. So,
Mhm,
and closing the eyes, which is my favorite technique with my clients, when they're in their own mind and they're justifying every action,
mhm.
go ahead and close your eyes. And let's talk to your unconscious mind. Close your eyes. It just allows you to go deeper in, right? So you told us close your eyes. And then second thing you said was I'm gonna say this very quickly, but I'm 100% sure that 90% of the people listening to the questions were trying to answer them
Tried to
consciously.
answer them. Exactly. So, I have a really cool Carl Jung quote, right? Your vision will become clear only when you look into your own heart. And here's the important part. He who looks outside dreams. He who looks inside awakes. So just that last part. He who looks outside dreams. He who looks inside awakes.
So I would say, is it okay if we repeat it, but everybody in the audience closes their eyes and just breathes while you're asking the questions without trying to respond them so they can feel the shift and the difference?
Absolutely. Why don't you ask the questions this time?
Oh my God, I don't know that I'm
Oh, you
out of
don't
the
know?
top of my
Okay.
head.
Yeah.
Um, I mean,
I
I
can
think I do
I
know
can
them,
ask
but
them. I
go, 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 go.
I've memorized them a little bit differently. Okay, everybody close your eyes. Take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it, and then a long exhale out through your mouth. And just let your mind listen to the questions about that dilemma that you're talking about. What would happen if you did? What would happen if wouldn't happen if you did? What would happen if you didn't? What wouldn't happen if you didn't? And then take another breath in through your nose. And as you exhale this time, visualize that new possibility, even if you don't think you can see it with your physical eyes. And yeah, I slid into a little bit of my hypnosis voice there. There's definitely that's definitely something that we learn that you need to learn to do. And you wouldn't think, uh, I think people who do hypnosis and people who do auctioneering,
Mm.
there's a voice intonation with auctioneering. My husband does that, and when I've heard him doing that kind of thing, his voice changes. And when we do hypnosis, our voice changes. Um,
Absolutely.
on purpose. There's purposeful types of voicing for certain things, and that's, yet another thing we learned from our teacher.
Absolutely.
So, let's talk really quick about about 5 major, I'm just going to actually tell you guys that there are 5 major negative emotions that we have. And actually, I'm going to say 6, at least. There's maybe 7, but let's go 6. Anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, and shame.
What would be the 7th one?
I
Just me being curious, because I always do only those 6.
I do the 6. I think the other's not necessarily an emotion so much as it is a state of vulnerability, but it goes with shame.
Mm,
I think
okay.
it's not really an emotion, but anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, and shame.
Okay.
And the things that we're talking about things getting stuck and keeping us stuck in our unconscious mind, the baggage, the limiting beliefs, the emotions, those are the emotions that generally things get stuck about a particular topic. And sometimes they get stuck so early in our life that we can't describe what it is that's causing problems. We know something's causing us problems, but it's so early that it's before we had words to describe it. And so sometimes if you've ever had that feeling of, I really hate that I do this. I don't know why. I can't describe it. I can't describe it. If you can't describe it, it's very likely that whatever it is that has you stuck is from before you had words.
And I'll tell you something, I'll go even further. Sometimes we don't realize these things, or we don't see the impact of these experiences, let's put it that way, until later in life. And I'll give you a quick example. I've never had money issues in my life.
Mhm.
I'm blunt. I don't know. It was like I was never worried about money. Money always came. And when the bank account went deep down, I trusted that everything was going to be taken care of. And it did.
Nice.
Until I lost my job and I started to build my business. And all these things, because what was shaping my actions at that time, that I didn't have money issues, was based on the doctrine that my parents taught me, that working on a 9 to 5 was security.
Aha.
And then, but at the same time, my father was an entrepreneur, and there was a lot of beliefs about entrepreneurship that he embedded in me. And he ended up having some really difficult moments in his business, to the point where he ended up closing what he was doing. He lost a lot of money. So these beliefs I had about entrepreneurship did not play a role in my life until I lost my job and became an entrepreneur.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I didn't have any money issues before, but then I became an entrepreneur, and all these things that my dad taught us now started to surface.
And it wasn't necessarily just it wasn't your beliefs just about money. And this is a great example of how our values and beliefs drive everything,
Mhm.
right? And this is why cognitive behavioral therapy, without doing the deeper work, is not as functional. You have to do the deeper work before you can do something like cognitive behavioral therapy. That's me as a therapist saying that to my colleagues and
Mhm.
to other people, because you have to get down underneath the thinking and feeling to get to the values and the beliefs. And the values drive the beliefs. The values, think of the values as building blocks to build the beliefs. And our views, our meaning of the word on each of the values is very individual. So like the meaning of the word trust for me may have a different slight meaning than it does, say, for Brenda Lee's. That
Mhm.
doesn't mean that I'm wrong and she's right, or she's right and I'm wrong, or whatever. It
Mhm.
doesn't mean that. It means those are the meanings that we each individually ascribe to it. And every person on the planet has different meanings for different things. And they're all right. So your values and your meaning that you ascribe to those words and those values, then those building blocks get put together into your beliefs. So you had the meaning of the values of hard work and values of stability. Actually, it was a belief that the stability was a belief. The value was hard work. What were the other values that went into that stability?
I think for me at that time when I was incorporated, it was the trust because I was going in a certain path, right? So
Okay.
trusting the path because everything was taken care of, right?
Right.
And then I would say probably stemming from, I'm trying to think here. From like, I mean, working at steady jobs meant, although that's a belief, but steady jobs meant working a 9 to 5.
Yeah. So and all of those building blocks put together, but then you had, the value of hard work was
And
attached.
taking care of my family too. So
Yeah.
if you think
So
about it,
family, your values of family, your value of hard work, your value of stability, and your connection of the word stability to a 9 to 5, because it was connected to the belief of stability was connected to the belief of the 9 to 5.
absolutely.
And so to shift all that around so that you could like you had to do some shifting and moving and shaking in your values and beliefs to get to where you're at the moment. And that has also caused you to create some fun things we're going to tell people about a little bit later.
Oh, absolutely, because I think being creative and creating things is, for me at least now, very fulfilling, right?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And it just, I'm in my zone of genius when I'm creating.
Yeah. And I think that comes, to me, I think that comes especially after you start understanding and having those conversations with your unconscious mind and realize that the possibilities literally are endless. When you get into that, you finally see what you didn't see before, and you get into that space, you can create anything. And then the creation becomes really fulfilling and really fun. So I'm going to have our folks. So, I'm going to talk about one more thing, and then I'm going to do us a quick commercial, and then we're going to do a demonstration. So I want people to think about when we go on this break, think about what future worries, because anxiety lives in the future, by the way, everybody. What future worries block your present action? So think about what future worries block your present action.
Breakthroughs are about more than you might think. They're about discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments that matter. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space. It's about creating connection. Join us each and every day for exclusive programming, special events, and a community to call home, where we invite you to explore, change the way you look at and live your life, and go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online thebreakthroughshow.com.
And it's so cool that Show Me Your Nuts lives on the Breakthrough Show Network. Can I just say that? Given what you and I do and what we specialize in is helping people break through their old stuff. To me, that's just like super cool. So, what did you guys
Absolutely.
think of what your future memories that are blocking, your future anxieties that are blocking your current action?
So I'll tell you something, Stacy. I do this work for a living, right? And I constantly have to take myself through my own processes just to ease my mind. And I recently experienced where I sign up a client and then all of a sudden she tells me, "Oh, I need to talk to you," right after I sign her up. And I'm like, my mind is immediately going on the direction, oh my God, she's going to cancel, blah, 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 blah. And it was hilarious because I had to do what the technique you're doing right now, you're going to take us through. I had to do it to calm myself and say, hey, I'm not entertaining this energy that it's going to create my reality. I'm just going to shift the energy to the energy that it's going to serve me the best. And using that technique helped me shift that energy.
Yep. And it was like what we were talking about earlier about stepping around to the different side of the word nuts. This is it. And I think just an aside before we go into it is once you realize that really everything in the quantum world, and this is why I use the word quantum, because to me it's all connected and it's all the same thing. Because ultimately it's not just that physics, it's not just the unconscious mind, it's not just the quantum linguistics, quantum the everythings. It's all the same thing, just a different piece of it. So
can I share another story quickly?
Sure. Then we're gonna do a live demonstration after that of an anxiety, what I call an anxiety break.
So when you and I did our breakthrough session in Arizona as part of our training, everybody was talking about, oh my God, the amazing experience that they had. And I'm like, I don't know in what world were they. I don't feel any of the things that they're feeling and they're talking about. And I started to get very anxious about it, right? And I calmed myself down, blah, 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 blah. But it hit me like 2 or 3 days after the breakthrough. I had lost my job. I'm here thinking I don't want to go back to corporate world, right? And it hit me that anxiety came like to the surface in an explosive way, because I received this email that says your bill of like $4,000 is due X day. And I'm like, they're thinking, oh my God, I'm exploring not going back to corporate. I'm not going to have money. I don't have a job. La, 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 la. And I go in this craziness, like circle,
spinning,
right? I'm spinning around on it. And a voice inside my head says, you have the tools. Do the anxiety technique. So I went to the bathroom. I took a bath. A shower. I was in the hotel. I took a shower and I cried myself. Like everything I had to get out, I got it out at that point. Then I sat in my hotel room, and I'm not kidding you. 5 minutes to 10 minutes after, like I sat down, I repeated the technique twice because I just wanted to feel completely calm, right? So after I completed the technique twice, I pull up my laptop and go directly into the mode of creating my business strategy. And within 3 hours, I had prices, I had everything I needed to launch my business. And 6 weeks after I came back from the training, I actually launched officially my business.
So what you did, I'm gonna translate what she did also into after you got rid of the negative emotion of it.
Oh, I moved into action.
then and you moved, not only did you move into action, you were creating your future memories. You were putting your future memories out into the future, and then they were manifesting 6 weeks later. Excuse me. I am going to get a sip of water before I do this one.
And it was incredible because I went from someone who was so skeptic about the process to, oh shit, this shit works. These things work. Like these really do work. And
Yeah.
I remember going back home and just coming through the door, and my husband asked me, how many jobs did you apply while you were in Arizona? And I said, well, let me share with you first what I learned. And when I
And
started
here
to
she is.
and when I started to talk, he could see my eyes light up. Like he could see my body language was completely different. He could see that the person that had not been there for the last 6 months was back. And he's like, oh shit, you're not going back to corporate. I'm like, you got it.
There you go.
But I would say, yes, the breakthrough helped, but being able to use that technique shifted everything for me.
Well, and this particular technique we're going to walk through is just, I'm going to call it a tiny fraction of the things, right? But like we talked about earlier, one tiny shift can actually make a huge difference. And this is the technique that put my personal generalized anxiety disorder in remission. I actually don't feel it the same anymore as I ever did back in 2022. So literally 3 years ago right now, I was sitting in anxiety all the time, every day. And in November 18th, 2022, and then on through today, I don't. Because on the 17th, I learned this thing. So we're going to do a demonstration of it. Brenda-Lise, you have something that you're kind of worried about or trepidatious about, kind of anxious about right now?
Absolutely. So I'll tell you very quickly. I launched yesterday, sorry, my 5-day challenge for helping people overcome their own wealth ceiling, right? Specifically helping women overcome their wealth ceiling and step into the identity of the wealthy future self, right?
Okay.
So I launched it, and it's been incredible. Today is actually the first hypnosis that we're going to do live. But Saturday we have I have a big integration, something I haven't done with anybody yet. So I'm going to do it with that group for the first time. And at the same time, I'm actually announcing that I'm launching my group coaching program. And just the thought of presenting that offer into the group, and then that feeling that maybe people don't show up to the live session and all of that just like bubbles my anxiety. Like I can start to feel my chest starting to compress. Just the thought of it.
And as you said that, I could sense this energy of almost wanting to throw up.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to walk you through and I know you know what I'm going to walk you through. So there's a little bit there, but if you're in the audience, I want you to think of something that you have that may be causing you anxiety right now. And I want you to follow along as I walk Brenda-Lise through this. I want you to follow along through it. Okay. So we're going to follow a similar example from earlier. And I'm going to have you close your eyes and take a deep breath in through your nose for a slow count of 2, 3, 4, and hold that breath. 3, 4. And then put that breath out through your mouth and blow all of it out. 2, 3, 4. And then take a couple of gentle breaths. And I want you to go travel virtually up in the air above yourself and travel out into your future. above wherever you see in your mind's eye your timeline. Travel out into the future to 15 minutes after successful completion of the thing that you said you were worried about. And sink down into that person, into that body, and see what you see with your eyes, hear what you're hearing with your ears, feel all the feelings you feel in your body after you've successfully completed that event with your clients or that thing you're worried about at home. And feel all of those things. Make the things that you're seeing as bright and cinematic as possible. The sounds you're hearing as vibrant as you can. And the focus on the feelings that you're feeling in your body because you've done it. It's good. You're successful. And then I want you to virtually, on your time, as in your mind's eye, turn around and look backwards towards now. And tell me, where are those feelings that you were having? Are they still there? Or have they disappeared now?
They're not there. It's excitement.
It's excitement now. Okay, hold on to that excitement and come back above your timeline and back into this space. When you open your eyes, tell me, do you smell popcorn?
I do not.
And
But
anybody
I
at
wish
home,
I had popcorn here right now.
if you were just eating popcorn and you smell popcorn, that's a little bit of a whatever's. But Brenda Leese, how did that feel? And I want to tell you some observations I made of you while you were doing it.
I'll tell you something. I felt a shift inside, and it was funny because I'm going to tell everybody. I just could hear the stripe going flip, flip, flip.
Nice.
I felt really good. I know I released a couple of things because I yawn, and every time I'm yawning, I'm releasing things. So I know every time I felt the energy shift, and I'm very conscious about my energy. I could feel that. Yeah, I felt it.
And for those of you, that was the exact thing I was going to tell you. I recognized, I saw, I watched you yawn, and the couple times you yawned, I'm like, okay, she's releasing it. So for those,
at least I didn't burp in national TV.
Well, you could have, because you can burp and you can say 4 little words in here both. It's all good. It's even okay to fart in here. Because hello, energy has to come out however energy comes out, right?
Absolutely.
And I think, again, that's one of those subtle things that I noticed that you're yawning, and I noticed that you were releasing things. And that's one of those things that we have learned. And granted, yes, I was going to say, granted, yawning promotes other people yawning, and I'm probably going to release some energy here in a minute too that way. But what's really cool about that technique is one of the ways it works is the fact that our unconscious mind doesn't know the difference between a vivid imaginized, that's a new word. There's one of the new hashtags, imaginized. We birth new hashtags in here all the time.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Your unconscious mind doesn't know the difference between the thing you're imagining in that future, your future memory, and something that happened before. So I like to call it remembering your future memories, because they are future memories. And if you're remembering them as a future memory, that's a way to tell your unconscious mind that this is something that has happened. And then it does everything in its power to make it happen, which is why when you did that release in Phoenix, and then you went into creation mode and you created the things, you were creating that future memory that your unconscious mind was going, okay, here's what we're doing. Or because it's happened already, she knows it's happened, and so we're going to do it. And that's one of the reasons it did it, right?
And I just realized that I remember asking the question, so what are the actions that I need to do in order to get there? And I think people don't understand the power of asking yourself questions from a future self perspective, right? And I asked that question, and it's like just allowing myself to just take the inspire align action, then made it even faster. I'll tell you, it was, if you had been in that room, it was a magical room, because I took my laptop and it was like, oh, this is what I'm gonna do, this is how much I need to invoice, this is how many clients I need to have, this is the people I want to focus in, this is how the name of the company, blah, blah, blah,
when
blah,
you end up in flow like that, and that's where that you went, instead of being resistant to it, you then were in that flow state, and it was all coming to you. You were getting downloads from your future self of what the thing was. And then you went back and did it, and it has become what it is. And what you've got going for Saturday, you've put out there into the future, and it's going to be even more magical than your original imagination with it. I want you to listen to this other really cool quote or phrase. It's not a quote so much as a description of what we're talking about, and tell me what you think. Future anxiety is often past fear projected forward.
100%. And actually, if you like, I'll even say, if you ask yourself this question before you even say this is I'm feeling anxious, if you ask yourself the question, could this even be excitement?
Oh, yes. Mic drop.
Yes, because if you're in the middle of a situation and then you start to feel all the symptoms in your body and you immediately labeled it as anxiety, right? Then what is going to happen in your body, it's going to be different. But the moment you basically just become aware of your body and what's happening in your body, and you realize that, you know what? Anxiety could also be excitement, right? Could this be excitement? What if this is excitement?
What if it's excitement getting me ready?
Getting me ready for what my future self needs me to do now. And then it shifts everything, because the moment you ask yourself that question, you might not even need the technique. You're just, oh shit, this is true. I'm really excited about, presenting this opportunity to this amazing woman, where they're gonna be able to experience magic in their lives and transform into a wealthy version of themselves. Boom.
That one's a big old mic drop. Is like, what if what I'm feeling is excitement,
not anxiety?
Not anxiety.
Or what if it's something different and I'm just labeling immediately as anxiety?
So past fears being projected forward.
Absolutely.
I think that one's a really cool concept to weave in. So here's another one. Here's a challenge, though. This one's a challenge. And I've got both a question here, and I've got an answer. But the question is, what if bad things still happen?
This is what I feel and what I believe about bad things. Bad things is a label. What if it's not a bad thing? What if it's an experience I need to go through so I can accelerate the results I desire? What if this is the experience that is going to propel me to where my future self knows I can be?
Yeah. So like let's say, you're and this often happens to people when they lay down at night, right? And your mind starts spinning and it thinks of all the things. All the good things, all the bad things, all the things, right? And it's just like your constant spin. And one of those things might be what the answer, one of those things might be something that is, yeah, you've got to go through to get to the thing. Okay. So Brenda Lee has that answer. One of them, one may be the excitement. What if this is excitement?
Mm-hmm.
Here's another potential, and it's all of these answers happening simultaneously, by the way, because all of the possibilities happen
Are
simultaneously from all the different universes, and you can follow whichever thread you end up following, right? So any of the threads are possibilities, and you may follow all of them and weave them together into your ultimate result. So one of the possibilities could be, if bad things still happen, then we deal with them. But why are we pre-suffering?
I had this
That's the
quote.
question, is why pre-suffer? Why put yourself through suffering for something that has not happened?
I think
And
it's our unconscious protecting us.
I think it is. I think it is those past fears being projected forward. And but
Absolutely.
then that causes us to pre-suffer, even though we don't have to pre-suffer, because we always have all of the possibilities still. Always.
And this is where I would just close my eyes and say, hey, unconscious mind, are you there? Are you willing to talk to me at this point right now? And if you are, what if there's a different way than me getting anxious about it?
Mhm.
What if this is exactly what I need in order to get through the other side?
What would
What if,
happen if I do? What would happen if I
uh-huh,
don't? What wouldn't happen if I do? What wouldn't happen if I
uh-huh,
didn't?
what if there's a better way for me to do this, that it's not the way that it is now? Is there actually a better way?
Mhm.
And then I just listen, and most of the times it comes, yes, there's a better way. So
And
would you help me leverage that new way, that better way, so I can actually get the results that I desire?
mhm.
Absolutely, Brenda, I'm here for you. Are we okay with letting go whatever it is that it's
Oh,
creating this inside of our body? And I sometimes I receive a no, and then if I receive a yes, good, we move forward. If I receive a no, then I'm just like, okay, so if you are not willing to let it go, what am I gaining by staying in this loop?
ah,
And then when I ask myself, what am I gaining by staying in this loop? And I'm closing my eyes because I'm talking right now to my subconscious, my unconscious mind.
uh-huh.
I'm like, okay, I gain keeping me safe, keeping me protected, not playing big, blah, 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 blah. What if I could still be protected? What if I could still be safe and play big in a
And
way
play
that I'm
big.
impacting more and more people?
So you're also playing the yes and game.
Uh-huh. But I'm having this inner dialogue with my
Mhm.
unconscious mind. And
Yeah.
I'm like having this conversation, because the moment I'm having this conversation with my unconscious mind, now my unconscious mind softens. And whatever it is I want to bring forward consciously, the unconscious mind takes it easier.
And I love what you're doing is when we talked about that quote from Carl Jung earlier of if you're dreaming, if you got your eyes open and you're daydreaming, if you will, about something, but you're worried about it. Whereas if you close your eyes
I'm focused.
and
I'm in the moment.
you close your eyes and you go inside, instead of looking outside, you close your eyes and go inside and talk to your unconscious mind and listen to your unconscious mind. Because I think it's the listening that is just as important, is the be still and be quiet and listen to your unconscious mind. It's going to
And
tell you more.
And one of the things I teach my people is, as you're listening, right? Pay attention to your body.
Mhm.
As you're listening to the yes, where do you feel that yes?
Yes.
In my case, my yes is very loud in my heart. My no is in my gut. In my no is like in my GI tract. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So when I feel I'm actually having this conversation with my unconscious mind. Yes, I'm listening for the yes and the no and the answers coming through. And at the same time, I'm paying attention to what I feel in my body. So when the yes comes in, I'm like, where do I feel it? And yes is here. No is in my GI tract.
So you're listening to your unconscious mind, which by the way, everybody, your unconscious mind isn't just a thing in here, it's everything, right? I often point to the back of my head when I'm talking about it just as a demonstrative purposes, but really it's this ethereal everything. But your unconscious mind works in picture, and we could go so deep. Pictures, stories, and emotions. Your five senses are your biggest conduit to your unconscious mind. If you recognize and listen to your senses, you can have a conversation with your unconscious mind just through that and through pictures. Brenda Lise, this has been amazing. Can you believe we've already gone deep in an hour and we've still got so many hours we could do, right?
Oh my God, I can talk about this forever and ever.
So I would love to ask you would you come back sometime and show me more of your nuts?
Absolutely.
All right. And so I also want to share with everybody some how to get in contact with you. So you guys, Brenda Lisa's LinkedIn is there on the screen. LinkedIn.com/in/Brenda Lise -Acosta. She also frequently is in my weekly coffee on Thursday mornings, Thursday 9 a.m. Central. And I will show that link.
And if you want to find me on Instagram, it's BrendaLise_Acosta. So it's very similar. Keeping it simple.
Yes. So find her in my coffee on Thursday mornings and using my /events there and her LinkedIn. And next week, you guys, next week is going to be so fun. The other thing that's on the events calendar for next week. So September 9th on the show, we're going to do a deeper dive into the quantums. I have two special guests. It is a pre-recorded show because I will be at the the World Building Expo on Go Brunch that is presented by the Global Business Plaza, and there's lots and lots of fun things there. So look on my calendar for the World Building Expo next week. That's where I will be live all day. And the show is still going to happen 9 a.m. Central on next Tuesday with my two special guests, Sarah and Alex. And we're going to dive deeper into the quantums. Then at 2 o'clock Central on September 9th, I have a workshop where we're going to dive into these things live as a group. And I want you guys to, I'd love sign up for the workshop. Come hang out with us. Brenda Lise, maybe you'll pop in if you're around. And we're gonna go even farther into some of these principles of quantum shifting techniques. And also talk about this is the kind of work that we do in the Squirrel Revolution, which is my new group program. So Brenda Lise and I are both launching stuff at the same time. And I am trying to find, one moment, please, my picture about the revolution. So you can join the Squirrel Revolution. The QR code is on the screen. You can either use the QR code or go to squirrelrevolution.com and find out more about that program. It is a group learning and experiential program. Again, next week, 2 p.m., free workshop. The things we brought from today. I'm going to say small shifts create quantum leaps. The timeline techniques uncover and release root causes. Future anxiety blocks your present action. And your unconscious wants to help you heal. And not just your unconscious wants to help you heal. We could go 3 or 4 shows deep in how your body wants to keep you healthy. That's 6 other episodes, I think. So the last message I'm going to say is you don't need years to heal. You don't have to be in therapy for years. Sometimes you need just the right moment, the right technique, and the courage to look at those hidden nuts. I want to thank you again, Brenda-Lise. You are beyond appreciated in my world, and I am so glad that you were able to be here today, and that you'll be able to come back again. So we'll see you guys next week for some more quantum nuttiness.
Thank you for joining us on this nutty adventure. Remember, personal growth and wellness are journey. Thank you for joining us on this nutty adventure. Remember, personal growth and wellness are journeys best taken together. Keep exploring, keep growing, and don't forget to show me your nuts next time.